Next up is Aaron Hughes. Aaron's going to talk to us about what's been going on at PeeringDB and some of the plans for this year.
Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Hughes. I'm the president and CEO of SixConnect and also the elected president of PeeringDB. Here to give a PeeringDB update. So first, for any of you who have seen a PeeringDB presentation anytime in the past year and a half or so, primarily the subject's been about the organizational development. We decided recently to change the presentation a bit and make it a little more grown up. So we've developed a 2017 slide deck. It's got a short, medium, and long format. Right now it's got a 101 tutorial at the end of the deck. So after the question slide, if you download this, you'll find that there's a whole bunch of tutorial information for 101. We plan on developing more detailed tutorials, 201s, 301s, et cetera, as time goes. We are planning on highlighting integration with PeeringDB. So we want to promote the latest tools out there that show off integration and developments with PeeringDB. I just heard one in the last presentation, and I think even Chris Grundeman mentioned one called a route server I'd never heard of. So if you've got interesting integrations that you'd like to have shown off, please send an email to product.com@list.peeringdb.com, and we'll highlight it in a deck as we present this around the world. We're also interested in your feedback, so if you've got feedback about the presentation itself or anything you'd like to see presented as we present at these kinds of conferences, please send an email to product.com as well. So first, what is PeeringDB? Well, we decided maybe six or 9 months ago or so to have a strategic offsite meeting and actually write down a real mission statement and write down some strategic goals, and then from that develop operational objectives. And this is the mission statement we came up with. PeeringDB, a nonprofit member-based organization, facilitates the exchange of user-maintained interconnection-related information primarily for peering coordinators and internet exchange facility and network operators. So a PeeringDB record makes it easy for people to find you, and it helps you establish peering. If you aren't registered at PeeringDB, please register at peeringdb.com/register. We do use some basic information for validating new accounts and require Whois information to be accurate, so please make sure you update your Whois information and also use an email address that's registered from your company domain. Governance and membership. We are a 501c6 volunteer organization. It's 100% funded by sponsors. We are a healthy organization. We're building financial reserves and executing for the long-term strategic plan. The membership rules are straightforward. A corporation, an LLC, a partnership, or other legal business entity may be a member of the corporation. And membership is determined by having both an active PeeringDB.com account and an individual representative or role subscription to the PeeringDB Gov mailing list. So that's a little dated, but there are 327 subscribed email addresses, or sorry, those role accounts to the governance mailing list as of the 25th of April, 2017. And if you'd like to join the list, you can see the link here to sign up to the governance list below. Also, all of our docs are published on gov.peeringdb.com, so feel free to go there. All of our board minutes, our strategic plans, our operational objectives, anything you want to know about the organization is all there. Our board of directors and officers, this is Chris Caputo, Patrick Gilmore, myself, Arnold, and recently Bijal has joined the board. Grizz decided not to rerun this year in order to focus on the product committee, and Job Schneiders. We have a couple of committees at PeeringDB, one on the admin committee and one on the product committee. The admin committee is your support team. They manage the administration of user accounts and PeeringDB records. They help us support tickets. They answer support tickets. On that committee from the board, we have Job Schneiders and Arnold Nipper. We are seeking 2 more community volunteers for the admin committee. Specifically, we're looking for, well, not just specifically, especially if you've got Portuguese, Brazilian dialect ability to support the community. If you'd like to volunteer or you'd like to reach out to the admin committee, feel free to email them at admin@list.peeringdb.com. Then we have the product committee. The product committee is what drives the direction of the supporting software. We're looking for input from the community on desired features. We manage the roadmap and develop priorities. We write scope of work for what needs to be done to get those developments implemented. They solicit bids to complete the required features. and they submitted that to the board for approval for budget. If you'd like to contact the product committee, you can email ProductCom. If you have a feature request, you can send it there. If you'd like to see something different, let us know. So your admin committee here, please give them a round of applause for supporting you and supporting PeeringDB. They're all volunteers. These guys work very hard to make sure that we answer tickets as fast as possible. Support ticket statistics, and you'll see that this is an interesting increase. The blue bars are for PeeringDB 1.0, and as of PeeringDB 2.0, those orange bars are the number of tickets that we've received and our admin team has responded with. And the blue line in the graph is there, the number of tickets per day, and the resolution time is on the bottom. You can see there's a 300% increase since the launch of PeeringDB 2.0. And this is primarily related to validating new accounts. So the admin committees are volunteer-based around the world. It's a variety of time zones, and our goal is clearly to answer support tickets as much as possible. We've set the mark at 24 hours as a response time, and as you can see for 2016 on that bar below, we've been executing on that resolution time. So our product committee, these are again volunteers helping drive the product and the future of PeeringDB, and I'd please like to give those volunteers a round of applause as well. All right, strategic direction. So we took the time to write down our strategic goals, and I'm just going to highlight a few of them just to make sure that, if you'd like to read the whole doc, they're all at gov.peeringdb.com. Our number one goal is to ensure reliability, security, and support of PeeringDB services. We want to maintain, develop, and enhance functionality of PeeringDB services as sought by the users in the community. We want to educate the community on effective use of PeeringDB, educate the community on interconnection, and of course evangelize the use of PeeringDB. We want to encourage support of PeeringDB via sponsorship, build a reserve for the organization, and strengthen relationships with operator peering forums and other work cooperatively on interconnection topics. And of course, D&O and succession planning. A lot of operational objectives came out of this, and I'm not going to go over all of them, but you'll see there's some pretty key elements of making sure that we're stable, we're up, we're reliable, and we're accurate related to backup, supportive services, regular redundancy testing, restoration testing, working with the admin community and the product team, managing the contract for maintenance and support, supporting future features, providing education material, making sure to survey our sponsors, survey the membership, and of course, conducting an annual meeting and election process. So the product team has started to become nice and mature. We have now all issues being tracked on GitHub with a ZenHub overlay. Anyone can request a feature request. There are no internal or hidden requests. Everything's online and public. There's an open and transparent process for feature development. And the workflow is actually listed now on docs.peeringdb.com/workflow. So we have a little chart to show exactly how it goes through the process, how it gets picked, how it gets ordered, how it gets forwarded, and how these things get implemented. So we evaluate and prioritize the requests, request a quote for development costs, request budget from the board, and manage implementation and scheduling. And we should have a nice product roadmap. Right now we've got a few, it's coming up in a couple slides, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the new release process for changes to the PeeringDB platform it's announced at least 1 week in advance with all changes to give the community notice. There's a beta site that's already running the development version for testing, and really I think we should call that like staging environment, because it's not beta, it's actually the next version that's running for you to test against. We announced the PeeringDB list and Twitter and Facebook. We release on Wednesdays at 400 Zulu, and avoid Mondays and Fridays, international holidays, and large conferences like this. So the list of current changes, the release notes for each version are on GitHub as well, on that milestones link below. Again, this link to the beta server, beta.peeringdb.com. So this you can use fully just like you use peeringdb.com production. The only difference is that it's not making changes to the production data. There's complete full access over HTTP and API, and you can make any changes there. It will not impact your production. The latest changes are available at beta.peeringdb.com/changes. Documents of all the changes are there, and anyone can log bugs for anything they see on GitHub at the link at the bottom. So, product roadmap. There are a bunch of maintenance releases that have come out since the launch of 2.0. We have major releases with larger features in 2017 coming. And we expect that in future presentations of this, you'll actually have a public roadmap of what we are planning on implementing over the course of time. That's almost ready to send out to the public, so I think by the time this deck comes up at the next conference, we should actually have a proper roadmap in here. But we have some focus areas that we've decided to work on. Data quality, privacy, confidentiality, usability of the API, platform stability and reliability, and product evolution. The communication focus areas are in partner management, communication outreach, and membership engagement. So third-party integrations, what we use for decision criteria for third-party integrations. Permissions and privacy on user informations are set by the user. We absolutely want to make sure that anything set by the user always stays there. Accuracy is essential, exchange sources need to be vetted, and data conflicts are resolved by the admin committee, not by the integration. Third-party integration with PeeringDB started in two ways. We do some data exchanges with other organizations, and we use free and commercial software, some tools that are listed on docs.peeringdb.com. Similarly with data exchange, we have some goals written down. We, of course, again, want to maintain data integrity, provide complete data needed for interconnection, working to exchange data with organizations that maintain data on facilities, IXPs, and networks. They need to have an open and transparent process for integration, and again, we protect the user data. So some examples of this for IXP data, we have data exchange with IXF, EuroIX, Packet Clearinghouse. For network data, we use the regional internet registries for ASN validation. And for facility data, we've recently added work with Inflect, who's going to be presenting right after this. So here's an example of a highlight integration, and I mentioned this early on in the presentation. So if you've got a tool that you want to see highlighted, this is the kind of thing that we're going to show. So this is TraceMon, which is a tool for visualizing network topology on trace routes. It provides one-click access to IXP and network information. The PeeringDB info displays, as you can see, in a little GUI, and it's got a nice little integrated update PeeringDB button on a little pop-up you see in the bottom right corner. The Atlas users can access it by selecting the trace route measurement and clicking on the TraceMon tab at atlas.ripe.net, and there's a full article for on the link at the bottom. Information and resources. This is a big, busy page. We have a lot of email lists that are useful. The announced lists are for announcements to changes. Governance list, if you want to be a part of the governance of the organization, you need to be on this list. A technical list, if you want help with implementations, have technical questions, you can join the PDB tech list. User discusses for anything user topical. Docs at docs.peeringdb.com. If you want to email the board and officers, email stewards. Support is done by emailing support@peeringdb.com. And again, presentation request to product.com. I'll just leave this slide. Oh, we've also got a status page now. So the status of all elements of underlying support of the PeeringDB platform are available on status.peeringdb.com. Social media, etc. And I want to thank our PeeringDB sponsors for continuing to support the organization. And before I go to questions, I'll just show you that following this slide, you start getting into some tutorial slides with a whole bunch of really nice technical information. It's very well written. Please feel free to download it, take a look, and we'd like your input on what you'd like to see in future documentation and tutorials. So with that, I will open it up to questions. Brandon.
Hello, Brandon Bennett, Facebook. Have you ever considered adapting an open source model where the actual website and the scripts that you use to maintain the database itself is open source and allowing pull requests and just allowing more people to contribute to PeeringDB?
We are actively having that discussion, so yes.
Awesome.
Matt Petak, Yahoo. So when it comes to the beta site, you say that's running sort of the next version against non-live code. This is perfect and wonderful for minor release changes. If you're ever going to a point where you're going to change the API, do you have a different staging environment, or do you just kind of, the staging environment suddenly has a different API than the production one and people get surprised by that?
Sure, so I think if there's going to be a change that's major enough, we do a version control on the API itself and probably support the legacy one for some period of time and then have a transition so that both would work. At the moment, there are no major plans to do something that significant, but of course we would take into consideration, that kind of major impact needs to have much more explicit notice and time and testing.
So the 1.0 to 2.0 was kind of the big sea change, and we shouldn't expect to see a 3.0 coming anytime soon.
No, I do not anticipate it. It hasn't been discussed. We haven't received any feature requests that are massive enough to require that kind of thing. Certainly, I'm not seeing the community stand up saying this doesn't work. Everybody seems to support it and integrate it with it and enjoy its service. So,
Excellent. Thank you.
all right. Oh, Joe.
Job Snyder's PeeringDB. To add to your question, if we would do a major change of the API, it is quite easy to introduce a version number in the API endpoint itself. And that way, you can just talk to the current one or the new one. We'll use just industry best practices for API endpoint management. Don't worry.
All right. Thanks very much.